I'm Indu Antony. I am an artist. I'm based in Bangalore. I work with multiple different mediums. One of the core mediums that I'm working currently is this medium of smell, in terms of working a lot in the olfactory art space and trying to explore smell in various different directions. It's a very abstract and very interesting medium to work with. I had a very keen sense of smell from a very young age, and I would often say, "Oh, this doesn't smell good. This doesn't smell, appetizing. So I don't want to eat it." So I think smell was very much part of me growing up, and then I started exploring that in different projects. Vāsane is a project archiving the smells of Bangalore as a city. It has multiple different smells, and we've captured close to 12 smells that is available in the book. But in total, there's a larger archive that is growing. I didn't know exactly how to explore it also initially. And then pandemic hit. People were losing their sense of smell. My sister, she lost her sense of smell for almost a year, more than a year. And she couldn't tell if the clothes were washed or not. And she couldn't really enjoy her food also because of this lack of smell. Quality of life completely went down. I started seeing that, and I thought we should also, as a city, what does it feel to smell the city? People don't really spend a lot of time experiencing the city in a very sensorial manner much. It's a lot overtaken by visuals all the time. So then the first part was, how do we go and learn how to distill this? So I was thinking, okay, how do we collect material? How do I distill it? So then setting up an olfactory lab and then collecting materials one by one. And how do I collect it? And what is the right amount? How to distill? So it took a really long time, I think close to 3 years to make the project, to try and understand what are the smells also. So there were a lot of people telling different smells. We were also conducting a lot of oral history exercises of talking to more than 300 people as to what their memory of the city is with respect to smell. And then we got a lot of different stories. And among that, I think we figured out 12 most popular smells that people were constantly repeating, and thought we will distill that and then work with that. It has smells of Cubbon Park on a Sunday morning to the Iyengar bakery sponge cake, the smells of Karaga as the festival that happens, to filter coffee that you have in the morning. So there are multiple different smells that we try to capture in the book. It's been a very exciting and new kind of way to explore the city. And Bangalore as a city has a lot of people who've come from outside Bangalore to live in the city and have made it their own home. Looking at the city through a smellscape, through a landscape of smell, is also an interesting way to kind of connect to the city also. And then even thinking about Vāsane as a project and how do we distill a city itself is a very abstract thought. And Bangalore also, I realized that it's a very, coastal cities have a very strong smell of, it's highly humid, and there's a strong smell of the sea also that one can get when you are in these spaces. But Bangalore is a landlocked city. So how do we figure out how to kind of distill a city? But then one of the things that happened with Bangalore is it changed very fast. So every small conversation people get together and talk, they talk about a Bangalore that was. Oh, remember this and remember that. There's a lot of nostalgia. And I felt like one of the best ways to talk about nostalgia is through sense of smell. So let's distill some of these that before it completely vanishes from the city. Around 60 to 70% was a lot of self-learning in terms of trial and error. And I think that was the way I was able to compose a lot of the, smells, how it came about. The process depends on each of the material. For example, the Church Street smell, I still remember someone saying that, oh, it smells like my breakup, and I wanted to think about what does that actually mean. So there's a corner where everybody's smoking, and they kind of, they drop the cigarette butt in the rain. I mean, in the rainwater, whatever the water that's collected. So that smell was very distinct. So we thought, okay, how do we collect? So we actually gave these plastic buckets to a lot of the pubs around and asked them to collect a lot of the cigarette butts. So once we collected them, we brought it to the distiller. We put it through the distilling method, and then we collected the oil. So it's a steam distillation thing. So most of the time it separates into oil and water. So then the oil is collected and then it is part of the project. Some of them we can distill. Some of them is very impossible. Not everything can be distilled also. Depends on the material. Some we may have to keep distilling for like 2-3 days because we are not able to get the proper outcome. Some we may even get in 3 hours or 3 to 4 hours, but it is not something that happens within 1 hour or that's it. It is a long process, so it takes its own time. Also, to give you an idea of quantity, there is 100, like for example, you have to put 100 roses to get almost 2 drops of rose oil. So the quantity is like that. So you have to, so much of roses to get 1 to 2 drops of rose oil. So it's not like a very small quantity, and you have to fill the entire thing to be able to get a certain kind of produce at the end. Sense of smell has a higher power to register emotion and memory much more than of your other senses. So I felt it's important in some way to talk about a very underrated sense, and in experiencing things with all your senses is a more wholesome way to experience anything. So if you are, going to a restaurant, the visuals, the sound, the taste of the food, but also smelling the food. And people don't do this very often. And also in a country like India, we are overwhelmed with a lot of the senses of, there's so much happening around, even with smell, with sound, with visuals. So it's very hard for us to break these down, to experience it one by one, individually, and then come to a wholesome space where I'm like, oh, okay, this really now feels good. So it's also part of slowing down. I think a lot of my projects has a core of slowing down, looking at things in a very slow, more sensitive manner. So I think working with smell, this really fit into that core that I always follow. So being very slow, taking one's time to smell something. People are not slowing down with respect to experiencing anything in general, I feel. So it's also for me to kind of slow down and look at things very, in a more conscious manner, that I'm aware this is what's happening. I'm aware this is a smell right now. I'm aware this is what I'm looking at. It is another form of meditation, I would say, like to really accept what you're feeling at that moment and then express. So whoever experiences this project also, I always tell them like, okay, slowly, and then what is coming to your mind right now? Is there any, memory that's coming? Let's talk about it. So it is in a very slow manner, the whole project also was kind of perceived.